Hi and welcome to Positively Sparking, podcasts on internet marketing, online business, entrepreneurship and digital living. Today I'm with Neil Henry, Director of Positive Sparks, and we're going to go through our favourite tips and stats for the month of November. Hey Neil, how are you?
Good morning, Phil. Yes, I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Excellent. So we were just talking before we came onto the podcast, and winter's hit up north as it has down south.
Mm-hmm. It has indeed. First frost 2 days ago.
Frost. There we go. Well, some of that's going to feed into what we're going to chat about today. So it's our monthly podcast where we go through our top stats of the month that we've come across. And Neil, do you want to kick off? Give us your first stat that you want to go over.
Yeah, I suppose seamlessly in from first frost and the clocks going back, so the time change, and a fascinating stat that I found from lastminute.com and generally from the industry of travel, tourism, is that there is a significant trigger and boost in travel spend, travel searches, volumes of searches for holidays, hotels, travel of all kinds, once you hit that clock change, end of October. Lastminute.com data says that international flights go up or went up 22% overnight, and there is a 43% rise in the number of searches for hotels and specific locations, the top five being New York, Milan, Amsterdam, Barcelona, and Las Vegas. I was thinking about those five. I'm thinking, right, is there any kind of pattern in seasonality or in climate? No, there isn't. All in different parts of the world, all different temperatures. But certainly for destinations for people to get a quick break or a nice break away, even if it is a colder period of time, a cold snap, certainly New York, thinking of New York, thinking of Milan, Amsterdam. So it was just, I thought that was a fascinating set of stats that shows that when people are having a need or a want, shall we say, for something to get away from the mundane and they, oh no, here's autumn and winter, let me get a break away from that. The high motivation they have to potentially find and book a holiday or an excursion away, a weekend, is kind of priceless for them.
Interesting stuff, isn't it? So those cities, I was thinking the same thing as you were speaking them out. Is there any connection? And there's not, they're quite different, aren't they? So
totally different, yeah, because some of them, I would say, certainly for us in the UK, Milan, Amsterdam, Barcelona, they could easily be searches for weekend breaks, quick breaks, you know, get away for pre-Christmas or post-Christmas, and there's always deals on for those. New York and Las Vegas, and New York obviously is going to be number one, with it being somewhere that people would love to go for the Christmas period, something I'd love to put on my bucket list. Vegas, not sure. You could have put anywhere. I mean, could have been Mauritius, the Maldives. I'd love to go somewhere like that to get away from the cold snap. But yeah, I think those middle three were any kind of city breaks are definitely more viral, getting more volume for that reason. Obviously, New York, number one destination for Christmas. But all in all, I just thought for international flight volume traffics to go up 22% overnight from that Sunday and 43% rise in searches says that is a significant shift in someone's motivation and mentality when the clocks go back.
Isn't it just? That dark night, that first dark night is always the toughest, isn't it? 5 o'clock and you can see the darkness coming down.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Well, if ever you do get to New York for Christmas, the kind of quintessential American Christmas is a department store called Macy's.
Yeah. I've been in January. I've never been pre-Christmas. I've been in January. I've been January, February and March. But yes, pre-Christmas would be somewhere I would love to, yeah. Macy's actually reminds me of Home Alone.
It does, doesn't it? That's exactly what I think of. I've only ever been to one Macy's, and that was the one in Chicago, which is the Home Alone one.
Right.
Cool. Well, in line with what you were talking about there, when it does get darker and colder, we spend more time inside, more time watching TV, and the two stats I pulled out first were that 43% of people use their devices whilst watching TV, that kind of multitasking, watching a program, and at the same time checking things out, be it our email or our fantastic trip to New York, whatever it might be, is more and more common for people to do that and be doing two things at once. And a very, very similar stat, 36% use devices whilst listening to music. And, gone are the days. I remember when I was a teenager and I was really into music, I would just sort of lie down in my bedroom and listen to an album. Mm-hmm. And now I rarely do that. I still might put an album on, but I do something at the same time. So I wanted to ask you, are we becoming a more multitasking society because of our web devices?
Totally. Yeah. Well, I had this very discussion with my wife last night, and we were talking about how there is a plethora of information that you can research and find online on any subject in the world, and you can find anything out about anything within an instant. But by dumbing down the information that's online, because there's such a plethora of it, and by having all these different let's say, triggers to distract you from what you're doing, we lose the ability, this was my personal perception, we lose the ability to focus on tasks at hand and things that give us great, deeper levels and layers of pleasure, such as listening to an album from start to finish. That's why greatest hits albums and now chart hits do so well, because now we're fragmenting life so much that we want an instant hit of gratification. So we listen to the one or two songs we like on an album. We don't listen to the entire flow. So we don't buy into anything truly deeply on a meaningful level. And I think that's quite tragic. But yes, in short, I think we do dumb down life experiences because we are multitasking and we're not buying in or being involved and engrossed in one specific thing. The only thing I find that truly engrosses me to, raptures or tears, can be when I put everything down and watch a good movie.
Very true. Yeah, which commands your whole attention, doesn't it? That's one of the differences.
It has to, otherwise you just miss the different levels of the film and what it can do and what it's projecting as a message. I suppose that's the same with anything we listen to or do, but because we've got tech so readily available, a smartphone dinging every 5 minutes, 5 seconds, whatever, a tablet device that we can pick up and search for, I wonder what's happening to that person in the world. It dilutes everything. And I think it's quite a sad case of affairs.
It is, isn't it? But at the same time, I guess it's an opportunity for advertising. Hugely so. When we think about the stats we've just mentioned there, I've got another one that is that 112% boost in search volume and traffic for sites like Airbnb at this time of year, because people are desperate for that break away from the mundane and the monotony of what they know is going to happen autumn through winter. So if we can be very savvy with our advertising and any kind of web marketing strategy to make people truly identify with that pain point they've got and want to click on your ad or go and read your piece of content or look at your video and feel it resonates with them on a personal level, then all power to the customer-centric company that can identify with those people. Absolutely. So have you got any tips for companies that do want to connect with that time of the year? So people who are searching for trips to New York and Barcelona, sitting there perhaps doing so whilst the TV's on or an album's playing in the background. How would you go about doing that?
The most important thing, and this works across all areas of marketing, whether it's running something through social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, if it's running a Google ad campaign, a Facebook ad campaign, and it's the same with SEO on your website and the way you set up your landing pages, is keywords. Because the stats are really showing that when you think of all these different companies that are in hotels, rentals, flights, Airbnb, lastminute.com, Expedia, the most important search traffic that they get comes from searches that are really obvious, really key to a person and their decision-making process. So, for example, the best keywords for anybody in the hotel and travel industry would be cheap and deal. this time of year. Significantly higher volumes of traffic for search terms that are cheap deal. When it comes to renting a property, it's hot tub or villa. When it comes to physiotherapy, back pain, knee pain, hip pain, it's not generic. If you think about all of these, it's not, I want a holiday, I've got pain, I need to see a physio. It's specific to a person's individual need. So the personalization of any campaign has to be the primary focus of what you're doing when you're trying to build content, project it through a landing page or through your website, through your social media, or especially through any advertising campaign. And the advertising campaign, a good example would be if you're looking at knowing that people are searching for keywords such as cheap, deal, hot tub, villa, they're also going to be looking for the place, the geography. They want to go to New York, Milan, Amsterdam, those specific places. So customize it to the personal journey or the personal want of the person that you know is coming to your site. And that all comes from the analytics that you can get by looking at search terms.
Very good. Very good. So I'm just going to add on to that with one thing that the guys at Google have been talking to us about, which is the new feature of Gmail ads. So those same keywords we can pump into this new channel of PPC marketing, which targets people who receive emails into their Gmail that have certain keywords or come from specific domains. So if we're trying to, for example, sell winter clothing, we might target people who are receiving emails about trips to New York because we know it's going to be cold there, and they might want a brand new winter jacket for their trip. What would you wear to New York, Neil? In December.
Because I know what it's like. It is bitingly cold. Well, I've got a huge Tommy Hilfiger coat. I would wear my North Face hat and a pair of thermal gloves.
There we go. You mentioned two brands there.
Knowing what the weather is like, because I've got a cousin who lives up in Boston, and when it gets to minus whatever with the wind chill factor, a pair of jeans would absolutely not suffice, so I'd probably have some thermal leggings on as well.
There we are. So there's 3 or 4 things that we could promote to you if you didn't already have them.
Absolutely. And I would, knowing that I've got such a trip lined up, go out and make a significant investment in the comfort of what I would need. You know, I might go buy a new pair of cat boots. So I've mentioned Caterpillar, North Face, Tommy Hilfiger. They're all different brands, but I know in every regard, it's about a quality of a product that I would want more than trying to find something based on price or, you know, I would be looking at reputation.
Very good. Excellent. So, Neil, what's your next stat? Have you got something to bounce off those, or is it completely different?
It's kind of related, but the stats are totally different. And it's that 48%, this is all about mobile and the mobility of smartphones and how smartphones are becoming all-encompassing, all-powerful. 48% of millennials use a smartphone to research, plan, and book, and even make any kind of purchase. Now, 48%, okay, less than half. But if you think about the smartphone and what the smartphone was 2 years ago even, 48% is a significant number of people that now are confident, not only doing research, as you and I do, not only planning things, but also triggering an action. Excuse me, that would be making a purchase. Because, and doing online banking. People are so much more savvy to how these devices now work and trust the devices and the security behind the device, because they trust the company's website that they're actually going to, that it makes it so much easier for mobile to become, and this is the first time, I think this is a stat from a couple of weeks ago, for the first time ever, mobile ad spend has overtaken PC ad spend, and that's for the first time. These stats come from Visa because they are seeing that 54% of people now make mobile transactions. Last year, that was only 18%. Now, we're going to look up the stats. 59% of people are comfortable making mobile transfers, and 45% are happy making takeaway orders online, on a mobile device, on a smartphone. So because of that, those 3 stats, and I'm going to go back to this 54 versus 18 in a second, but if you think about all those stats, people are equally confident making